Well, good Friday morning to you. Hope you had a great Christmas holiday out there yesterday. We are looking to keep our temperatures pretty warm. We were close to a record high yesterday and not going to be too far away from them the next few afternoons. I actually think we have a good chance of breaking the record high on Saturday. So we'll take a look at that. Our warm conditions will continue through the weekend. Some changes next week. Also going to check in on California. They had to deal with some very harsh weather Christmas Day. Actually did have some severe weather in LA out there yesterday. And then we're also going to look back at a time lapse we actually got from our Thurman Dam cam this morning. Had some foggy conditions out there early, but that has since improved. But a pretty cool video we'll take a look at later on, and also an update on the drought monitor for us. All right, let's take a look at our headlines for the rest of today. We are going to see a few passing clouds out there. Generally sunny skies from what I'm seeing on our satellite and also on many of our tower cams out there, but the potential for maybe a few passing clouds out there later today. Heading into tomorrow, I think we got a much better chance of seeing record high temps. Could possibly beat the record high by a couple degrees. So very warm weather out there for tomorrow. And then heading into next week, we are expecting a cold front to pass through Monday. That's where the changes do start to move in. So as we welcome in 2026, we're likely going to close out the year and start the new year with much cooler temperatures than what we've seen. Here's a look at those current temps if you are heading out. Right now we're anywhere from the low to mid 60s, so starting to see these temperatures warm up from the 50s that we had out there early this morning. I think we got a good shot of seeing at least mid 70s across many spots in the region today. Possibly could be a little bit cooler on the Carolina side of the river. There is a backdoor cold front that is basically going to hit and stall over the Midlands. Not expecting any rain with that front, but it will just help drop those temperatures a little bit. So you can see a little bit of a temperature gradient, low 70s for places like Saluda, Edgefield, Aiken County, mid 70s for us here around the Savannah River corridor and on the Georgia side of the river. So not too big of a temperature spread, but a little bit out there. High pressure is centered over the Gulf of America, and we are looking at that backdoor cold front moving in from the northeast. Not expecting really any major changes with that front outside of some cloud cover that it is trying to drape across portions of the Midlands and starting to creep over Saluda and portions of Aiken County. You can see more clouds off towards our west. So this is where the potential maybe for a few clouds does come into play as we get into later today. Now, as far as tonight, we're going to keep those low temps, most likely mid to upper 50s. We'll have a few passing clouds out there late tonight, and then heading throughout the day on Saturday, this is when I think we have a much higher chance of seeing record temps. 79 for a high is what we're going with here in Augusta for tomorrow afternoon. The record high tomorrow, 77 degrees. So I think we got a good shot of actually beating that record that was set back in 2015. We'll hang on to mostly sunny skies heading into tomorrow. Wind's going to be relatively light, maybe early in the morning. You see a slight breeze out there, but that will slacken up as we head later into the afternoon. Here's a look at how our high temps the next few days do kind of shape up close to those records. So yesterday for Christmas Day, it was actually the second warmest Christmas on record in Augusta. We were 1 degree shy of that, tying that record high. Now for today, the record high is 81 again. I don't think we'll hit the 80s with that backdoor cold front pushing in, but still going to be pretty warm out there, most likely mid 70s for us. And there's your record high for your Saturday. Once again, the record 77, and we're right now expecting high temps to be into the upper 70s. Temps do cool off a little bit on Sunday. The real reason for that is that we're expecting fairly cloudy skies most of our Sunday that will stick around through the afternoon. Not expecting much rain with those clouds, but that will help keep our temperatures generally into the 60s. And then once we head past Sunday, cold front starts to move in on Monday. That is going to bring us the chance for maybe a few showers. Also going to be windy with that front. And then we'll start to notice much cooler conditions by next Tuesday. That will last through the start of the new year on Thursday. So much different weather pattern once we get past the weekend. All right, stick with us. We're going to have an update for you on those California storms just after a short break. Well, another storm did slam California on Christmas Day. The atmospheric river-fueled storm lashed the state, setting records in some areas and keeping many under evacuation orders. Reed Binion reports.
Everything was flooded. It was insane.
Californians reeling from another day of brutal, deadly weather. Torrential rain triggering floodwaters that made roads treacherous and in many cases impassable. Thunderstorms and punishing winds causing damage across the state. In other areas, feet of snow also impacting travel. In Wrightwood, northeast of Los Angeles, authorities issued an evacuation warning Thursday due to mud and debris flows.
We're approaching 10 inches for the Wrightwood area. Widespread flooding throughout the community.
Emergency crews pulling people from flooded cars and homes.
A number of rescues were performed throughout the day. Water rescues from vehicles traveling onto flooded roadways. We had people that were trapped in their houses.
The massive scope of the flooding still visible hours after the water receded. Cars and homes encased in silt, mud, and sand the floodwaters left behind. Some homes buried nearly up to the windows and rafters. Elsewhere in the state, authorities say a Sacramento sheriff's deputy was killed after crashing on a wet roadway while driving to work.
Fortunately, in this line of work, we deal a lot with the dangers in the line of duty. This is a little more unique because it's one of those freak accidents simply on his way to work.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Such a sad situation ongoing there. You can see a current look at radar still showing a lot of rain impacting portions of Southern California all the way up to Redding, California in the northern part of the state. So hopefully conditions do start to improve for them over the next several days. All right, next, a stunning worldwide competition is whittled down to the cream of the crop in landscape photography. Jeremy Roth reveals the top honors in today's Take a Look at This.
Just in time for the holidays, take a look at the best of the best from a worldwide photography competition aimed at highlighting talented and artistic eyes with a knack for lush landscapes. These are some of the impressive finalist images from the 12th Annual International Landscape Photographer of the Year competition. This year's contest saw more than 3,600 submissions from photogs all around the world who labored to cast light on the breadth and beauty of some of the world's most stunning natural vistas. There are too many highlights to name, as all of the artists captured simply spectacular views of earth, sea, and sky. However, all three were collected in the same striking shot by an Austrian artist who took the overall winning prize for Best Photograph of the Year. And it was an American's beautiful, bountiful body of work that won overall for Best Landscape Photographer of the Year. More of the incredible winner and finalist submissions can be viewed in the online ebook at internationallandscapephotographer.com. Finally, we leave you with a holiday-esque landscape shot from sunny Arizona, which probably isn't having a white Christmas anytime soon, but is showing no less holiday spirit with a giant 40-foot inflatable elf perched on the side of a spire in Scottsdale. The 125-foot spire was originally built to honor legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright, but for the season, it's been transformed into what KNXV reports may be one of the largest elf-on-the-shelf installations in the world. Happiest of holidays, everyone, and for Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Welcome back in this morning. I wanted to show you this view we got from our Thurman Dam cam. We had some pretty foggy conditions up at the lake. Take a look at this time lapse. Very tough to see down the dam right here. And actually, would you mind if we take this full screen, Al, just so we can get a little bit bigger look at it? There you go. Thanks, man. All right, here's a look at it. So actually a little bit of maybe a fog bow tried to form with this. So we did have that rising sun and it kind of made this little arc right here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but that little arc I think was a little bit of a fog bow that was trying to form. Pretty rare to see that, but cool stuff. Always love seeing the fog out there at the lake, and that was definitely a spot that had some pretty thick fog there at times. And we had some patchy dense fog across the area. No dense fog advisories were issued, but even from our Beach Island camera, you can kind of see the low spots in the valley. Definitely had that fog to battle early this morning, but expecting less of a chance for fog as we head into tonight. That wind expected to be just enough to most likely prevent a lot of that from forming tonight. All right, want to give you an update on the drought monitor. Did get a new update yesterday on Christmas morning. We are looking at still abnormally dry conditions highlighted in yellow, and then still a moderate drought in this tan color across most of the central and southern CSRA. So we haven't seen necessarily a ton of change from last week's update, but last week's update at least to get rid of severe drought conditions that you can see highlighted in orange. So that was found across most of the central and southern CSRA just a couple weeks ago, but since we did see some rain last week, did help knock us down to just a moderate drought. So we do need some rain, not necessarily a ton of rain in our forecast though. There's a look at the Weather Prediction Center. This is how much rain they're expecting over the next 7 days. There is going to be the potential maybe for some showers to show up with that cold front on Monday, but right now we have our rain chances at about 30%. So not necessarily a guarantee we see a ton of measurable rainfall with that front moving through Monday, but it could be very beneficial if we do, and hopefully we are able to squeeze out just a few raindrops out of the sky out there. All right, looking at our 6 to 10 day outlook as far as precipitation goes, highlighted in this light green color across portions of West, North Georgia into Alabama and Tennessee. Well, they have a little bit better chance to maybe see above normal precipitation during that time frame. So that would put it last day of December all the way into the first couple of days of the new year. For us here locally, really just expecting kind of near normal precipitation in that 6 to 10 day outlook. But once we go into the 8 to 14 day outlook, this would kind of push in to the latter half of our next week into early week following that. Well, right now we are looking at above average precipitation, so hopefully that does improve our drought conditions. All right, quick look at the 7 day. Once again, we are looking at warm temps all the way through the weekend. Maybe we get a shower or two Monday, and then looking to be seasonal as we head towards our New Year's Day, but very cold Tuesday and Wednesday. Toss it over to Nick Proto with the Fastcast.